Good morning, everyone. The theme of our today's lecture is word stress in English. And the questions we are going to discuss today are as following. The nature of word stress, place of word stress in English and degrees of stress, functions and tendencies of the English stress, and typology of accentual structures. So we are starting with the first question. Nature of word stress. The sequence of syllables in the word is not pronounced identically. The syllable or syllables which are uttered with more prominence than the other syllables of the word are said to be stressed or accented. Stress in the isolated word is termed word stress. Stress in connected speech is termed sentence stress. The definition of stress is different by different authors. Stress is defined differently. For example, Bogorodsky, for instance, defines stress as an increase of energy accompanied by an increase of expiratory and articulatory activity. Jones defines stress as a degree of force which is accompanied by a strong force of exhalation and gives an impression of loudness. Henry Sweet also stated that stress is connected with the force of breath. According to Gibson, the effect of prominence is achieved by any or all of four factors: force, tone, length, and vowel color. For example, if we compare stressed and unstressed syllables in the words contract and to contract, we may note that in the stressed syllable, the force is greater, which is connected with more energetic articulation. The pitch of force is higher, which is connected with stronger tenseness of the vocal cords and the force of the resonance chamber. The quality of the vowel a in contract is greater. The vowel becomes longer. The quality of the vowel a in the stressed syllable is different from the quality of this vowel in the unstressed position, in which it is more narrow than a. On the auditory level, a stressed syllable is a part of the word which has a special prominence. It is produced by a greater loudness and length modifications in the pitch and quality. The physical correlates are intensity, duration, frequency, and the form and structure. All these features can be analyzed on the acoustic level. Word stress can be defined as the signaling out of one or more syllables in a word, which is accompanied by the change of the force of utterance, pitch of the voice, qualitative and quantitative characteristics of the sound, which is usually a vowel. In different languages, one of the factors constituting word stress is usually more significant than the others. According to the most important feature, different types of word stress are distinguished in different languages. So, types of word stress are as following. If special prominence in a stressed syllable or syllables is achieved mainly through the intensity of articulation, such type of stress is called dynamic or force stress. If special prominence in a stressed syllable is achieved mainly through the change of pitch or musical tone, such accent is called musical or tonic. It is characteristic of the Japanese, Korean, and other Oriental languages. If special prominence in a stressed syllable is achieved through the changes in the quality of the vowels, which are longer in the stressed syllables than in the unstressed one, such types of stress is called quantitative. And the last one, the fourth, qualitative type of stress, is achieved through the changes in the quality of the vowel under stress. The English word stress is traditionally defined as dynamic, but in fact, the special prominence of the stressed syllables is manifested in the English language not only through the increase of intensity, but also through the changes in the vowel quantity, consonant and vowel quality, and pitch of the voice. Russian word stress is not only dynamic, but mostly quantitative and qualitative. The length of Russian vowels also depends on the position in a word. Now we should like to distinguish the notion of word stress and sentence stress. They are first of all different in their sphere of application as they apply to different language units. Word stress is naturally applied to a word as a linguistic unit. Sentence stress is applied to a phrase. Secondly, the distinction of the rhythmic structure of a word and a phrase is clearly observed in the cases when the word stress is notional words is omitted in a phrase. For example, I don't think he's right, or when the rhythmic structure of the isolated word doesn't coincide with that of a phrase. 15, room 15, 15 pages. So in a speech chain, the phonetic structure of a word obtains additional characteristics connected with the rhythm, melody, and tempo. On the auditory level, a stressed syllable is a part of the word which has a special prominence. It is produced by a greater loudness and length modifications in the pitch and quality. The physical correlates are intensity, duration, frequency, and the form and structure. All these features can be analyzed on the acoustic level. Word stress can be defined as the signaling out of one or more syllables in a word, which is accompanied by the change of the force of utterance, pitch of the voice, qualitative and quantitative characteristics of the sound, which is usually a vowel. In different languages, one of the factors constituting word stress is usually more significant than the others. According to the most important feature, different types of word stress are distinguished in different languages. So, types of word stress are as following. If special prominence in a stressed syllable or syllables is achieved mainly through the intensity of articulation, such type of stress is called dynamic or forced stress. If special prominence in a stressed syllable is achieved mainly through the change of pitch or musical tone, such accent is called musical or tonic. It is characteristic of the Japanese, Korean, and other Oriental languages. If special prominence in a stressed syllable is achieved through the changes in the quality of the vowels, which are longer in the stressed syllables than in the unstressed one, such types of stress is called quantitative. And the last one, the fourth, qualitative type of stress, is achieved through the changes in the quality of the vowel under stress. The English word stress is traditionally defined as dynamic. But, in fact, The special prominence of the stress syllables is manifested in the English language not only through the increase of intensity, but also through the changes in the vowel quantity, consonant and vowel quality, and pitch of the voice. Russian word stress is not only dynamic, but mostly quantitative and qualitative. The length of Russian vowels also depends on the position in a word. Now we should like to distinguish the notion of word stress and sentence stress. They are first of all different in their sphere of application as they apply to different language units. Word stress is naturally applied to a word as a linguistic unit. Sentence stress is applied to a phrase. Secondly, the distinction of the rhythmic structure of a word and a phrase is clearly observed in the cases when the word stress is notional words is omitted in a phrase. For example, I don't think he's right, or when the rhythmic structure of the isolated word doesn't coincide with that of a phrase. 15, room 15, 15 pages. So in a speech chain, the phonetic structure of a word obtains additional characteristics connected with the rhythm, melody, and tempo. There are actually as many degrees of stress in a word as there are syllables. The opinions of phoneticians differ as how too many degrees of stress are linguistically relevant in a word. The British linguists usually distinguish 3 degrees of stress in the word. For example, Gimson shows the distribution of the degrees of stress in the word examination. The primary stress is the strongest. It is marked by the number 1. The secondary stress is the second strongest, marked by 2. All the other degrees are termed weak stress. Unstressed syllables are supposed to have weak stress. As for the American scholars Block and Traeger, they find 4 contrastive degrees of word stress, namely loud, reduced loud, medium, and weak stresses. Other American linguists also distinguish 4 degrees of word stress, but term the primary, secondary, tertiary, and weak. The difference between the secondary and tertiary stresses is very subtle and seems subjective. The criteria of their difference are very vague. Now we are going to speak about functions and tendencies of English stress. So, word stress in a language performs 3 functions. The first one, constitutive. Word stress constitutes a word. It organizes the syllables of a word into a language unit, having a definite accentual structure. That is a pattern of relationship among the syllables. A word doesn't exist without the word stress. Thus, the word stress performs the constitutive function. Some continuum becomes a phrase when it is divided into units organized by word stress into words. The second function, recognitive. Word stress enables a person to identify a succession of syllables as a definite accentual pattern of a word. Thus, function of word stress is known as identificatory or recognitive. Correct accentuation helps the listener to make the process of communication easier, whereas a distorted accentual pattern of words, misplaced word stresses, prevent normal understanding. The third function, distinctive. Word stress alone is capable of differentiating the meaning of words or their forms, thus performing its distinctive function. the essential patterns of words, or the degrees of word stress and their positions form appositions. For example, like in the words input, import, below, and below. The accentual structure of English words is liable to instability due to different origin of several layers in the modern English word stock. And we are going to speak about tendencies of English word stress. So the first one, recessive, concerned with the Germanic origin of English language. In Germanic languages, the word stress originally fell on the initial syllable or the second syllable, the root syllable in the English words with prefixes. This tendency was called recessive. Most English words of Anglo-Saxon origin, as well as the French borrowings dated back to the 15th century, are subjected to this recessive tendency. Unrestricted recessive tendency is observed in the native English words having no prefix. For example, mother, daughter, brother, swallow. In assimilated French borrowings, for example, reason, color, restaurant, restricted recessive tendency marks English words with prefixes for see, begin, withdraw, apart. A great number of words of Anglo-Saxon origin are monosyllabic or disyllabic, both notional words and form words. They tend to alternate in the flow of speech. For example, don't believe he's right. The second tendency, rhythmical. The rhythm of alternating stressed and unstressed syllables gave birth to the rhythmical tendency in the present-day English, which caused the appearance of the secondary stress in the multisyllabic French borrowings. For example, like in words revolution, organization, assimilation. It also explains the placement of primary stress on the third syllable from the end in 3 and 4 syllabic words. For example, cinema, situate, articulate. The interrelation of both the recessive and the rhythmical tendencies is traced in the process of accentual assimilation of the French borrowed word personal on the diachronic level. Personal or personal or personal. The appearance of the stress on the first syllable is the result of the recessive tendency and at the same time adaptation to the rhythmical tendency. The recessive tendency being stronger, the trisyllabic words like personal gain the only stress on the third syllable from the end. Family, library, faculty, possible. The accentual patterns of the words territory, dictionary, necessary in American variant of English language with the primary stress on the first syllable and the tertiary stress on the third are other examples illustrating the correlation of the recessive and rhythmical tendency. Nowadays we witness a great number of variations in the accentual structure of English multisyllabic words as a result of the interrelation of the tendencies. The stress on the initial syllable is caused by the diachronical recessive tendency, or the stress on the second syllable under the influence of the strong rhythmical tendency of the present day. For example, hospitable or hospitable, distribute or distribute, aristocrat or aristocrat. A third tendency was traced in the instability of the accentual structure of English words, the retentive tendency. So a derivative often retains the stress of the original or patterned word. For example, similar but assimilate, recommend but recommendation. Our last question for today is typology of accentual structures. The numerous variations of English word stress are systematized in the typology of accentual structure of English words worked by Tarsuev. He classified them according to the number of stress syllables, their degree or character, the distribution of stress syllables within the word accentual types forms accentual structures of words. Accentual types and accentual structures are closely connected with the morphological type of words, with the number of syllables, the semantic value of the root, and the prefix of the word. So we've got 6 accentual types and structures proposed by Tarsuev, starting from the first one. This accentual type marks both simple and compound words. The accentual structures of this type may include 2 or more syllables. So, as you may see, the stress is on the first syllable. For example, like in words father, or possibly, or gas pipe. The second structure. The accentual type is commonly realized in compound words. Most of them are with separable prefixes. For example, read, active, rewrite, disobey. So we have 2 stresses in a word. The third and the fourth types are mainly the same. So they are met in initial compound abbreviations where each letter is under stress. For example, like in USA or in USSR. The fifth type is realized both in simple and compound words, very commonly among compound words, where the first syllable is under primary stress, or the first word is under primary stress and the second under secondary stress. For example, hairdresser, substructure. And the sixth pattern, vice versa, where the first part with a secondary stress, the weaker form, and the second part with a primary stress. For example, like in words hospitality. Also, we should note that in the sixth pattern, the stress may fall into the prefix and the root and the suffix, the prefix and the suffix. The other 5 types are rare and found a small number of words. So the variability of the word accentual structure is multiplied in connected speech. The accentual structure words may be altered under the influence of rhythm. The tempo of speech may influence the accentual pattern of words. So, the whole text of the lecture may be found at our website, Univer. You may use your login to download the text of the lecture. And now I offered you to hear and watch a little video about the stress in English words and how to deal with this stress. Thank you.
All right, welcome to Bill's English. Today we're going to talk about English word stress, and we're going to focus on function words and content words. Now, you may not have heard these terms before, but I'll give you an example. So, function words are words like articles, prepositions, verb endings, auxiliary verbs. Okay, so these words, they don't get stressed in English. So, if you are speaking and you stress them, then it's going to make your pronunciation a little bit unnatural. Content words, on the other hand, are words like nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs. These words will receive stress, and the vowel will be a strong vowel. They will have at least one strong vowel in these words. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So, John has been working all night. Here we have 4 content words. Okay, so John, work, all, and night. These are the content words, and we would stress them. Okay, these are all content words. These words, has and been and the ing at the end, these are function words, and we don't stress them. So we say, John has been working all night. So this vowel has a strong vowel, this one does, and this one does. But these vowels are a little bit weak. Okay? So I can show you another example. So this is, John works all night. Every word is a content word, every word is stressed. So in a lot of languages, you add more words to the sentence, and it will make the sentence longer. But in English, you have to add content words to the sentence to make it sound longer. If you add function words, the sentence isn't going to sound longer. So compare this one to the next one. John works all night. John is at work all night. John works all night. John is at work all night. So in this case, you have these strong vowels here, but then these vowels are weak. We don't put stress on them. Let's look at another example. I can add more function words and it's still going to be the same. So we have John works all night. John is at work all night. John is working all night. So it's the same pattern. I can add more too. John has been working all night. John has been working all night. Okay, same thing. We can add more content words and it's not going to make the sentence that much longer. So, John could have been working all night. John could have been working all night. It's the same deal. John has been working all night. John could have been working all night. So it's the same deal. Now I'm talking pretty fast here, but you're going to find this when you go out in the real world. People will talk like this. It's going to be hard for you to find people pronouncing every single word very clearly. The function words are going to be de-stressed. So it's going to be like this. All right. So let's look at another example. Kids drink milk. 3 content words, 3 stressed syllables. Pretty simple. So let's add in some function words. The kids drink the milk. Kids drink milk. The kids drink the milk. Kids drink milk. The kids drink the milk. So I think this is why sometimes it's really hard for non-native English speakers to hear articles, because we just reduce them so much that it's barely audible. You can't even hear it. So the kids drink the milk. Okay, so it's going to have the same pattern. The kids are drinking the milk. Again, same pattern, about the same length. So the kids are drinking the milk. The kids drink the milk. The kids are drinking the milk. So it's the same pattern, roughly. Same amount of time. The kids have been drinking the milk. Same thing. We can add all the syllables we want. It's going to be roughly the same time. The kids could have been drinking the milk. The kids could have been drinking the milk. So, and again, I'm speaking pretty quickly here, but I know some people might even talk faster in certain situations. So, again, we stress the content words and we don't stress the function words. Now, when we have a sentence where people are pronouncing the words with too much stress, basically it sounds unnatural because native speakers don't stress every single word in the sentence, because it sounds like this. The kids could have been drinking the milk. It just sounds unnatural because we don't stress every single word in the sentence. So I hope that this has been informative for you and that you've learned something about English pronunciation. And so I guess with that, I would encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel or visit my blog. Thank you very much, and have a good one and good luck out there.